Silent vengeance. The atmospheric processors hummed in the distance as Commander Ilara Chen stood at the edge of New Terra Nova's primary settlement, watching the setting of twin suns cast vibrant purple-orange hues across the colony's defensive perimeter. 60 years of human colonization had transformed this once barren world into a thriving outpost, home to nearly 3 million souls who believed they were among the first humans to reach beyond Sol's embrace. They were wrong. Status on the surveillance grid? Ilara asked, her voice steady despite the weight of knowledge pressing down on her shoulders. Lieutenant Marcus O'Cuffer's holographic projection flickered slightly as he responded. We've identified another cluster of consortium monitoring devices in Sector 7. That brings our total to 37 distinct observation points. They've been watching us for decades, Commander. Ilara nodded, unsurprised. For 3 generations, the people of New Terra Nova had believed they were pioneers, the vanguard of humanity's expansion into the stars. Only a handful knew the truth, that their isolated colony was nothing more than a carefully monitored experiment conducted by the Galactic Consortium, a vast alliance of 17 spacefaring species that had quarantined humanity within a tiny bubble of space. And the Phantom Fleet? She asked, using the code name for the project that would determine humanity's future among the stars. Final systems checks complete. All 27 vessels are operational and crew readiness stands at 97%, Marcus replied. Dr. Sharma reports the stealth technology is performing beyond expectations. The consortium sensors haven't detected a thing. Ilara permitted herself a small smile. Good. We'll need every advantage when... Her communication device chimed with an urgent alert, cutting off her words. The colony's long-range sensors had detected something approaching from the outer system. Not the routine patrol ships that occasionally skimmed the edge of their star system, but something much larger. Multiple objects dropping out of FTL at the heliopause. Marcus reported, his calm professionalism betrayed by a slight tremor in his voice. Configuration matches consortium battlecruisers. 7. No, 11 vessels. This isn't a monitoring mission, Commander. They're here to purge us, Ilara said, the words falling heavy in the twilight air. We've been compromised. For centuries, the consortium had kept humanity contained, allowing them to colonize only a handful of worlds while maintaining the illusion of independence. Earth itself remained ignorant of the greater galactic community, its communications subtly manipulated, its deep space probes quietly intercepted. Only New Terra Nova, established as a supposed independent colony, had discovered the truth when their scientists had accidentally decrypted alien signals 3 decades ago. Since that discovery, the colony had prepared in secret, building ships with technology reverse-engineered from salvaged consortium devices, developing weapons and defenses that the aliens wouldn't expect, all while pretending to be exactly what the consortium believed them to be, a simple, isolated human outpost of no particular significance. Alert Governor Mbiki and activate Contingency Omega, Ilara ordered. Begin civilian evacuation to the underground shelters. The Phantom Fleet launches in 30 minutes. As New Terra Nova's warning sirens began to wail across the settlement, Ilara made her way to the command bunker beneath the colony's administrative center. By the time she arrived, the chamber was already filled with the colony's military leadership, their faces grim as tactical displays showed the approaching consortium vessels. They've entered orbit, Colonel Jahangir reported. No communication attempts. They're deploying dropships, typical consortium invasion pattern. Governor Amara Mbiki, her gray hair pulled back in a severe bun, turned to Ilara. Then we're out of options. Authorize the launch, Commander. With a nod, Ilara placed her palm on the biometric scanner. Authorization, Chen Alpha 79. Launch Phantom Fleet. Deep beneath the colony's mountain range, concealed hangars began to open. The ships of the Phantom Fleet. Sleek, obsidian vessels built with a hybrid of human ingenuity and stolen alien technology, powered up their engines. These weren't crude approximations of consortium design, but something entirely new. Vessels created by humans who had spent decades studying their oppressors without being detected. First wave of dropships will reach the surface in 3 minutes, Jahangir announced. Ilara's expression hardened. They won't find us unprepared. Activate the ground defenses. As the first consortium dropships entered New Terra Nova's atmosphere, they encountered something the alien forces had never expected from a supposedly primitive human colony: advanced energy shields that rebuffed their initial strikes and counter-battery fire that destroyed 2 vessels before they could deploy their troops. On the consortium flagship Eternal Dominion, Supreme Commander Vextar of the Arthean species watched in disbelief as the human colony mounted an unexpected defense. Impossible, he chittered, his exoskeletal plates shifting in agitation. Their technological level is at least 3 centuries behind the minimum required for such defenses. How could they have developed this capability? His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Nishtal, reviewed the incoming data with 4 of her eye stalks, while keeping the others focused on her superior. The humans have been deceiving us, Commander. Sensor readings indicate energy signatures consistent with Korthian design principles, but with modifications we've never encountered. Vextar's mandibles clicked in anger. The Directorate was correct. These humans are dangerous. They must be eliminated before they can threaten the stability of the consortium. Prepare the cleansing protocol. Back on New Terra Nova, Ilara watched from the command center as the colony's defenses held against the initial assault. But she knew it was merely the opening move in a much larger conflict. Phantom Fleet reports ready for engagement, Marcus announced. Ilara exchanged glances with Governor Mbiki, who gave a solemn nod. This was the moment that would determine whether humanity would remain imprisoned by the consortium or claim its rightful place among the stars. Execute Phase 2, Ilara ordered. High above New Terra Nova, the consortium battlecruisers prepared to deploy their planet-killer weapons, massive gravitational disruptors that would tear the colony apart from its core. They never got the chance. The Phantom Fleet, hidden by stealth technology that bent light and other electromagnetic radiation around their hulls, suddenly appeared in the midst of the consortium formation. 27 ships, each armed with weapons systems that the consortium had never encountered before. A fusion of stolen alien technology and human innovation. All ships weapons-free, Ilara commanded. Target their propulsion systems first, then weapons. The first salvos from the human fleet struck with devastating precision. 3 consortium vessels lost propulsion immediately, tumbling out of formation. 2 more found their weapon systems disabled by targeted electromagnetic pulses that exploited weaknesses in consortium shielding that only decades of covered study could have revealed. On the Eternal Dominion, chaos erupted as systems failed across the ship. How did they get past our sensors? Vextar demanded, his voice rising to a screech as damage reports flooded in. Where did these ships come from? Unknown, Commander, Nishtal replied, her usual composure shattered. Their technology, it's impossible. They're using principles we've never seen before. Some kind of hybrid system that our scanners can't properly analyze. As the battle raged above New Terra Nova, Ilara opened a communication channel to the consortium flagship. For the first time in human history, there would be direct, official contact with the alien force that had kept humanity contained for centuries. Attention consortium vessels. This is Commander Ilara Chen of the New Terra Nova Defense Force. Your unprovoked attack on our colony constitutes an act of war not just against this settlement, but against all of humanity. She paused, allowing her words to sink in before continuing. For generations, you have watched us, contained us, and treated us as subjects for observation rather than equals. That ends today. We are prepared to cease fire if you withdraw immediately from our system. Otherwise, we will demonstrate exactly why your directorate has feared humanity's potential for so long. In the consortium command ship, Vextar received the transmission with mounting horror. The humans weren't just fighting back. They knew about the directorate and the containment protocol that had kept their species isolated for centuries. Impossible, he whispered. They couldn't know. But the evidence was irrefutable. Somehow, these humans had discovered the truth and had been preparing for this confrontation for years, perhaps decades. As 5 more consortium ships reported critical damage, Vextar faced a decision that would alter the course of galactic history. All vessels, strategic withdrawal, he ordered. Return to consortium space immediately. Commander, the Directorate's orders were explicit, Nishtol protested. The human presence must be eliminated. Vextar turned all 6 of his eye stalks toward his subordinate. The Directorate did not account for this scenario. We are outmatched, Sub-Commander. If we do not retreat, there will be no one to warn the consortium about what humanity has become. As the surviving consortium ships limped away from New Terra Nova, breaking orbit and accelerating toward the jump point that would carry them back to consortium space, Ilara watched from the command center with a mixture of triumph and trepidation. They're retreating, Marcus confirmed, his voice tinged with disbelief. For now, Ilara replied, but they'll be back, and in greater numbers. She turned to Governor Mbeki. We've revealed our hand earlier than planned. The Phantom Fleet was supposed to remain secret until we were ready to approach the consortium on our terms. Mbeki's expression was grave. Then we must accelerate the timetable. Phase 3 begins immediately. Phase 3. The words hung in the air like a promise and a threat. No longer would humanity wait passively for the consortium to decide their fate. The Phantom Fleet would not merely defend New Terra Nova. It would carry humanity's message to the heart of the consortium itself. As the twin suns of New Terra Nova set fully behind the horizon, plunging the colony into night, Ilara gave the order that would forever change humanity's place in the galaxy. All ships, prepare for hyperspace jump. Set course for the consortium central hub. It's time they understood exactly who they've been dealing with. The Phantom Fleet, victorious in its first engagement, disappeared into the darkness of space, bound for the heart of the civilization that had underestimated humanity for the last time. Reckoning of Worlds. The consortium central hub, a massive artificial structure orbiting the neutron star Proxima Centauri d, had never been breached in its 7,000-year history. Home to the Directorate that governed 17 spacefaring species across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy, it was protected by the most sophisticated defense systems ever created, a seemingly impenetrable shield against any threat. Until now. Proximity alert. Unknown vessels materializing inside the primary defense perimeter. The panicked voice of the hub's security chief echoed through the Directorate's emergency session, where representatives of the 17-member species had gathered to address the unprecedented defeat at New Terra Nova. The arrival of unidentified ships, appearing seemingly out of nowhere within their most heavily defended space, sent waves of shock and fear through the assembly. Impossible, declared Herovan, the Directorate's eldest, his crystalline form shimmering with distress. No known technology can penetrate the hub's defenses without detection. But the evidence was undeniable. 27 Obsidian vessels had somehow bypassed the most sophisticated security measures in known space, positioning themselves in a perfect formation around the hub. And at the center of this formation was the flagship of humanity's Phantom Fleet, the Defiance. On its bridge, Commander Ilara Chen stood before the viewport, gazing at the magnificent structure that represented the power that had kept humanity contained for centuries. Open a channel to the Directorate, she ordered. All frequencies, all languages. Lieutenant Marcus Okafor complied, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. Channel open, Commander. They're receiving. Ilara straightened her uniform and faced the communication array. This moment had been generations in the making, prepared for by the people of New Terra Nova since they had first discovered the truth about their place in the galaxy. Attention Galactic Consortium Directorate. I am Commander Ilara Chen of Earth Colony New Terra Nova. Your forces attacked our settlement without provocation or warning. Your retreat does not erase this act of aggression against my people. She paused, allowing her words to sink in. For centuries, You have quarantined humanity, manipulated our development, and treated us as subjects rather than equals. You believed us unaware of your existence, but we have known about the consortium for decades. Every monitoring device you planted, every communication you intercepted, every probe you redirected, we observed it all, learning from you while you thought yourselves the only watchers. Inside the Directorate chamber, chaos erupted as representatives of the 17 species tried to process this revelation. Security Chief Krelvan, a massive Viridian whose silicon-based body resembled a living mountain, turned to the eldest in shock. "The containment has failed completely," he rumbled, his voice like grinding stone. "They not only know of us, but have developed technology that surpasses our defensive capabilities." Hierovan's crystalline form pulsed with troubled light. "How is this possible? The predictive models gave humanity less than a 0.02% chance of breaking containment within the next 2 centuries. The models were wrong," declared Ambassador Tilara of the Solari, her luminescent skin flashing with patterns that indicated deep concern, "as they have been about humanity from the beginning." On the Defiance, Ilara continued her address to the Directorate. "We come not for revenge, but for recognition. Humanity demands 3 things. First, immediate recognition of Earth and all human colonies as sovereign territories with full rights under consortium law. Second, unrestricted access to consortium space and technology exchanges on equal terms with all member species. Third, reparations for the centuries of containment and the recent attack on New Terra Nova." She leaned forward slightly, her expression unwavering. "You have 1 standard rotation to consider these terms. After that, we will demonstrate why your ancestors were right to fear humanity's potential." As the transmission ended, the Directorate erupted into furious debate. The Viridians and Arthians advocated immediate military response, while the Solari and Corthians urged caution and diplomacy. "The containment protocol was implemented for good reason," insisted Krelvan. "The ancient texts are clear about the danger posed by unregulated human expansion." "Ancient superstitions," countered Tilara, "based on predictive models that have just been proven catastrophically wrong." Hierovan, who had led the Directorate for over 3 centuries, raised his crystalline appendages for silence. "We must understand how they achieved this technological leap before we can respond appropriately. Security Chief, what do we know about these human vessels?" Krelvan activated a holographic display showing scans of the Phantom Fleet. "Their technology appears to be a hybrid of various consortium designs, but with modifications we've never encountered. Most concerning is their stealth capability, which seems to operate on principles outside our current understanding of physics." "They've been studying us," Tilara observed, "using our own monitoring devices to learn about our technology, then improving upon it in ways we never considered." "Precisely why the containment protocol was established," Krelvan insisted. "Humanity's adaptability and innovation were identified as potential threats to consortium stability thousands of years ago. And yet," Tilara countered, "by attempting to contain them, we may have created exactly the threat we sought to prevent." While the Directorate deliberated, Ilara and her crew awaited their response. The Phantom Fleet maintained its position around the hub, a silent reminder of humanity's unexpected power. "Do you think they'll agree to our terms?" Marcus asked quietly. Ilara's gaze remained fixed on the hub. "They don't have a choice. Our ships are equipped with the Prometheus Protocol." The Prometheus Protocol, the culmination of decades of research into the ancient technology that the first colonists of New Terra Nova had discovered buried beneath the planet's surface. Technology that predated the consortium itself, created by a species long vanished from the galaxy. The humans had not merely reverse-engineered existing consortium systems, they had unlocked principles of physics that the consortium had never mastered. On the Defiance's secondary bridge, Dr. Vishal Sharma monitored the status of the Prometheus cores that powered each ship in the fleet. "Energy signatures remain stable, Commander," he reported over the comm. "The consortium is attempting to scan us, but their sensors can't penetrate our adaptive shields. Maintain current posture, Ilara ordered. Let them deliberate. They need to understand that we're not bluffing. As the standard rotation neared its end, the Directorate reached its decision. A transmission from the hub signaled their readiness to respond. Hierovan's crystalline form appeared on the Defiance's main view screen. Commander Chen, the Directorate has considered your demands. While we cannot immediately agree to all terms, we propose a diplomatic summit to discuss the integration of humanity into the larger galactic community. Ilara's expression remained neutral. The time for discussions conducted on your terms has passed, Eldest. The containment protocol ends today, not after further deliberations. You must understand our position. Hierovan continued, his tone conciliatory. The protocol was implemented based on historical data suggesting that unchecked human expansion could destabilize established galactic power structures. It was never intended as an act of aggression, but as a necessary precaution. A precaution that denied us our rightful place among the stars, Ilara replied. A precaution that treated us as specimens rather than equals. Your justifications mean nothing to the generations who lived and died without knowing the truth of the galaxy around them. She gestured to Marcus, who activated a holographic display showing the locations of dozens of human sleeper ships that had been launched from Earth over the centuries, all secretly intercepted and placed in consortium containment facilities. We know about these too, Ilara said. Thousands of humans who left Earth seeking new homes, whom you diverted and keep in stasis. Their release and the disclosure of the full truth to Earth are now added to our demands. Hierovan's crystalline form flickered with surprise. How could you possibly know? We've had access to your databases for over a decade, Ilara interrupted. Your security protocols were impressive, but ultimately insufficient against human ingenuity. We know everything, Eldest, every justification, every debate, every fear that led to our containment. Inside the Directorate chamber, this revelation sent fresh waves of panic through the assembly. If humans had compromised the consortium's most secure databases, what other systems might they have accessed? Ilara stepped forward, gently moving Hierovan aside. Commander Chen, I am Ambassador Ilara of the Solari. Not all species within the consortium supported the containment protocol. Some of us have advocated for its termination for centuries. Perhaps we can find common ground. Ilara considered the luminescent being before her. The Solari were known for their emphasis on harmony and balance, often at odds with the more aggressive or controlling factions within the consortium. Ambassador Ilara, humanity is willing to forge peaceful relations with those who respect our sovereignty. But the era of consortium dominance is ending. A new balance must be established, one where humanity has an equal voice. As if to emphasize her point, the Phantom Fleet activated their Prometheus cores simultaneously, sending pulses of energy that momentarily disrupted all systems throughout the hub. Not enough to cause damage, but a clear demonstration of their capability to do so. That was a fraction of our ship's potential, Ilara stated calmly. The next demonstration will not be so restrained. Faced with this show of force and the revelation of humanity's deep infiltration of their systems, the Directorate had no choice but to reconsider their position. After a brief recess, they returned with their answer. The Directorate accepts humanity's terms, Hierovan announced, his crystalline form dim with resignation. The containment protocol is hereby terminated. Earth and all human colonies are recognized as sovereign territories, with full rights under consortium law. It was a pivotal moment in galactic history. The emergence of humanity onto the interstellar stage, not as supplicants or curiosities, but as equals demanding recognition. As the formal agreements were transmitted between the Defiance and the hub, Ilara felt the weight of generations upon her shoulders. Inform New Terra Nova and prepare a delegation for formal discussions, she instructed Marcus, and begin preparations for contact with Earth. It's time they learned the truth. The revelation to Earth that they were not alone in the universe, and had not been for centuries, would be a shock that would transform human society forever. But it would also be the beginning of humanity's true journey among the stars, unfettered by the constraints that had been placed upon them. As the Phantom Fleet maintained its vigilant position around the hub, Ilara gazed at the vast expanse of stars visible beyond. For too long, humanity had been kept from exploring those lights, from taking their place in the cosmic community. No more. They went too far, she murmured, echoing the words that had become a mantra among those who knew the truth on New Terra Nova. And now humanity's wrath echoes across the stars. But it was not wrath alone that would define humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage. It was determination, adaptability, and an unwavering belief in their right to forge their own destiny, qualities that had made them objects of fear for the consortium, but which would now become the foundation of a new era in galactic history, an era where humanity would take its rightful place among the stars, not as containees, but as equals. An era birthed not from the benevolence of the consortium, but from humanity's refusal to be denied their cosmic inheritance any longer. The Silent Watchers had become the harbingers of change, and the galaxy would never be the same.